Hello and welcome to the Sports News on CW57, brought to you in part by The Red Zone. My name is Ryan Ashker, and this is what's going on in the world of sports. Final budget details are being reviewed and discussed for the new Milwaukee Bucks Arena and Downtown Entertainment District. The proposed plan would transform Milwaukee's entertainment district by putting several of the city's key arts and sports facilities under one Supreme Board of Directors. Highlights of the new plan include the state spending $80 million over the next 20 years while collecting $80 million in debt from Milwaukee County. Another $250 million for the project would come from the private sector, including $150 million from the Bucks owners and $100 million from former U.S. Senator Herb Kohl, who previously owned the team. Without a new stadium by 2017, the NBA has said it will buy back the team and relocate it, most likely to Seattle. Madison West won a sixth tiebreaker to beat out Madison Memorial and win the WIA Division I boys tennis sectional title. The Regents and Spartans tied for the team championship with 32 points each, but with fewer games lost at the sectionals, the Regents qualified for the state team tennis tournament. Highlights of the meet include Memorial freshman Colt Tiedemann winning the #1 singles title with a 6-3, 6-1 win over Oregon's Calvin Schneider. And West Matt Munz and Jordan Villauer defeating Memorial's Colin Pittman and Doug Powell for the #1 doubles sectional title. The University of Wisconsin Lacrosse is runner-up in the finals of the NCAA Division III Baseball Championship following a 6-2 defeat by State University of New York Cortland at Fox City Stadium. This was Lacrosse's first trip to the World Series in program history. The Eagles completed in the 2015 season with a school record 36 victories and made the program's fourth NCAA appearance. This year marked the third consecutive season and 11th in the last 13 that a team from the WIC made the 18 finals field. The Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Association has decided to move forward with a petition against recent Wisconsin legislative proposal that would allow students from private schools, virtual schools, and homeschooled students to participate in the sports teams of local public schools in their district. The WIA membership is strongly opposed to the legislation and concerned with numerous aspects of the bill that have not been considered or included, as well as the unintended consequences. The exact wording of the bill and a link to the petition are located at wissports.net. After the 2014-2015 academic year, a total of 90 Wisconsin student athletes earned the honor of being named to the Spring Academic All-Big Ten team. Women's track and field led Wisconsin with 19 student athletes honored, while women's rowing added 18 Badgers to the list. To be eligible for academic All-Big Ten section, student athletes must be a letter winner who are in at least their second academic year at their institution and carry a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or higher. The conference recognized a total of 1,447 students competing in spring and at-large sports. We'll be right back with more sports news after this. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now I'm very excited to be joined by the General Manager of the Madison Mallards, Tyler Isham. Tyler, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks a lot for having me. Appreciate it.
You guys are off to a very hot start this season. Can you give us an update of where you're sitting right now?
Yeah, exactly. We're 4-0 right now, undefeated, which is pretty much perfect, which is good. We're on the road tonight in Wisconsin Rapids, but the team's playing really well. Our bullpen's been dominant. Essentially, our manager, Donnie, told me last night that he thinks if we have a lead late, it's going to be real tough for us to lose it. So hopefully keep getting some early runs and keep the streak going.
Yeah, I came out and watched the Mallards game last week. You guys have a very strong pitching staff, a lot of great young arms, so that's something that the club obviously has going for them. Something else that you have, which has kind of made the Mallards a Madison staple, are the promotions you guys do. Always something very exciting, always something for the fans to do. Can you let us know a little bit about some of those upcoming promotions that you're going to be doing?
For sure, yeah. This week is a lot of fun. We play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all at home. And we've got a Star Wars night on June 4th with an R2-D2 hat giveaway, a ticket option where you can purchase a $10 ticket and a hat and you get an R2-D2 hat. We'll be wearing Star Wars jerseys that night that we'll be auctioning off. And then later on in the year, we've got a wrestling night with Roddy Piper, one of a big WWE Hall of Famer coming out on June 27th, which will be a lot of fun. And then, we've always got fun entertainment, like things like the Superstars and big inflatable guys that dance and play around on the field, and a kind of full lineup for the entire season.
What was the one that really stood out for me is the guys that you have raking the infield that have choreographed dance. They always do a nice job as well.
That's right. Those are the Quack Daddies. So we've got it's a group of interns each year who kind of take it up, and they spend about an hour a day choreographing their dance. Sync to different music for the Quack Daddies and the drag crew, which is a lot of fun, and they really have a good time with it as well. So
I know the fans get involved. Now, getting onto the field, who are some of the key players that you guys have this season? Maybe some people that the fans can stay up to date with and watch as the Mallards progress this year.
Well, one cool player, and he had the game-winning RBI last night, is Manny Ramirez Jr., and that name might sound familiar, and that's because it's Manny Ramirez's son.
Oh, wow.
Who's playing for us. He goes to the University of San Francisco, plays out there, and is with us for the summer, so we're excited to have him. Another key piece, I think, is a starting pitcher. His name's Nate Hoffman. And his name might be familiar to those around Madison because he's a Sun Prairie High School native. Graduate from there. He went to Madison College for 2 years and is now down at Middle Tennessee State, one of their best starting pitchers this year. He pitched on Wednesday night for us last week. I think gave up 1 run and looked really good. So we're really excited there. And then we've got a pair of arms in the bullpen. Vince Arobio from the University of Pacific and Mike Kalin from University of Buffalo. Both throwing in the mid-90s and have real good, double-A stuff and are really dominant on the mound. You'll see them, I think, kind of alternating between our closing role all year long.
Fantastic. And also want to note, you guys are always doing improvements and things like that to the stadium. When I was out there last week, I noticed now the Mallards have added a double-decker pizza bus as well. So get out to the field. Check out a Mallards game. It's a great event, always fun promotions. Tyler, thanks for joining us here on the Sports News today.
Perfect. Thanks so much for having me.
Tyler Isham of the Madison Mallards. Check them out all season long. We'll be right back with more of the Sports News in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now I'm joined by Joe Frontier and Holly Houston of Madison Memorial Track. Folks, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Holly, tell us a little bit about your success in discus so far this season.
This season I set our school record and I won conference, and yesterday I qualified for state.
Wow, congratulations. Not a bad go-around so far.
Thanks.
Joe, as you're looking at the rest of the season here, what is left or what can Memorial look to accomplish?
The state meet is this weekend in Lacrosse, Wisconsin, Friday and Saturday. Holly Houston will be throwing the discus on Friday and shot put on Saturday. She qualified in both throwing events. And Hunter Peters, a sophomore hurdler, qualified in the 300 hurdles, and he'll be hurdling on Friday.
It's very impressive. Now, Holly, with that meet going forward and still some more time left at school, individually, what would you like to accomplish not only this season but next as well?
You know, the goal is always to just throw as far as you can and compete the best you can. So see what I can do at state and see what I can do next year.
Well, we wish you very good luck with that. Now, Joe, being a part of the program, what is the best part of track as a sport, whether it's working with kids or the athletics as well?
Sure. You know, I'm very fortunate. I've been at Memorial for 14 years now, and working with young people like Holly and the people that have come before her. It's just great to see young people push themselves, work hard, learn how to commit to something, and watch them excel and grow as people and athletes. And as an athlete, I couldn't be more pleased with Holly's success, and it's a great tradition, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
And Holly, as you heard Joe talk about athletes excelling and doing very well, you've done phenomenal things with discus. How did you get your start in not only track and field, but discus throwing as a sport?
Well, my mom, she ran track in high school and college, and she coached for Memorial since I was like 3 years old. And so I was always in and around the track and at track meets and just watching what was going on. And I've known Frontier for a long time, and he's wanted me to throw. So freshman year, I just started throwing and really liked it.
Fantastic. It was a good decision for you. It looks like it panned out. Now, Joe, you mentioned some of the athletes Memorial is going to be having at state coming up. Who are some of your picks? Who has a good shot to maybe bring home a state title to Memorial?
Well, Holly's ranked number 4 going into the state meet in the discus. And so she's got a great chance to throw really far and be competitive with the best girls in the state, and she's proven that all season long. So I'm looking forward to what she can do. It's her first year qualifying in the shot put, and so it's a big stepping stone for her to be there in both events. And for Hunter, our hurdler, it's his first opportunity to be at the state meet as well, and I think the important thing is they're both young, they're both coming back next year, and they'll have opportunities to continue to build on their success.
Fantastic. Joe, Holly, thanks for joining us here on the Sports News today.
Thanks
for
for
having
having me.
us.
We want to wish Holly and the rest of the Memorial athletes good luck in the upcoming state event. It is Joe Frontier and Holly Houston of Madison Memorial Track. We'll be right back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the sports news. Right now I'm joined by John Newman and Javel Heggs of La Follette Track. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So how are the Lancers doing this year? Give me an update on the season so far.
It's been a pretty good season. We're not the biggest group of student athletes number-wise, but we make up for it in a lot of the heart and soul and a lot of the effort that we've had. A couple trends this year have been the improvement trend, finishing strong at the end of the season. We've had a lot of distance-heavy groups doing very well on the boys' side, and then just the youth. We got a number of athletes coming out freshman year, sophomore year, first time, really making some good performances and making a high impact.
And I understand you guys just finished up a sectional meet late last week. Give us a report card on that. How did your athletes perform?
Athletes performed great. I told them on the bus after the meet that performance-wise, they really brought it. And from the girls group, and the distance kind of got us started out all the way through the field events and jumps and throws and the sprints and the distance on the boys' side. They did a great job. I would be lying if I said it wasn't a little bittersweet. We had a number of athletes come up a little bit short in that fourth place spot, like six events. But I tell you what, they all PR'd and they all gave great effort, and we got a number of kids through and with some clutch performances. So, sometimes that's going to happen. Sometimes you bounce back even stronger with some adversity. But we're excited for the kids that are making it through, and it's going to be awesome this weekend up there at Lacrosse.
And you mentioned those kids moving through. Can you give us some information? Who are some of those state qualifiers for La Follette?
On the boys' side, we qualified the boys 4x8. That consists of Trevor Legg, Kai Nichols, YU Badasso, and it's anchored by Alex Cotter. Another distance runner, Finn Gessner. You guys have probably heard about him. He's qualified in the mile and the 2 mile. And then the senior triple jumper, Charles Jackson, qualified in the triple jump. And also, Alex Cotter also qualified in the Open 8, running a great race on Friday for 1:55.
Wow. And you mentioned one of those triple jump athletes moving on to state. You guys have had uncanny success in the triple jump over the last several years. What's some of the reasons for that at La Follette?
Well, what I see is they come in, they don't know anything about the jumps, but we find pretty good athletes, and you got to be athletic to triple jump. So I get them in there, and they work hard, and they're willing to do whatever you ask them to do. And that's why in the past, maybe since 2000, we've gotten triple jumpers to state, maybe most of the time, but one time. Yeah, just once out of those years that triple jumper didn't make it, and that wasn't because of they weren't able to make it, just had a little problem with the school situation. But so far, CJ Jackson and Kaylon Jones, Kaylon's been to state 4 times. CJ's been, this is his second time going. He was 7th last year at state, and we're looking forward for him to do some big things this year.
And as you mentioned, a lot of those athletes moving on, and we have the state qualifiers coming up. Who did the Lancers get to move on from that sectional tournament into state this year?
Well, on the boys' side, we qualified the 4x8. That consists of Trevor Legg, Kai Nichols, YU Badasso, and then Alex Cotter is our anchor. Alex Cotter also qualified with a great race in the 800, probably the best one I've seen him run, busting a 1:55. We also have senior Charles Jackson, who qualified in the triple jump, and another guy by the name of Finn Gessner, a distance runner you guys may have heard of, qualified also in the mile and in the 2 mile. And then on the girls' side, we have 2 qualifiers, senior Kaylon Jones, triple jump, and this might be her 5th year qualifying in a row, something like that. She's going up there to try to medal this year and had a nice jump at the end of her competition on Friday. And also freshman Tyra Turner, first time out for track and popped one to win the contest on Friday, and we're looking to see what she can do under the spotlight up at Lacrosse.
Wow, very impressive. Well, we want to wish all those La Follette athletes going to state good luck coming up in Lacrosse. John, Javel, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Go Lancers.
Yes.
John Newman and Javel Heggs of La Follette Track and Field want to wish all of those Lancers good luck at the upcoming state meet. We'll be right back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the sports news. Right now I'm joined by Charlie Kershaw and Billy O'Brien of the Edgewood tennis team. Gentlemen, thanks for stopping in today.
Thanks for having us.
Now, how does it feel to be returning to the team state championships coming up?
We are very excited. It's been a long season, but we're very excited to get back to the team state championship and really compete for a state title.
And as it came out, you guys ended up earning the 2nd seed. What did you expect going in? What was the team expectation for that?
We figured we were going to get a top 8 seed, but we didn't think we'd maybe be as high as 2. But with that, we know our seed doesn't mean anything, and we still got to play our best tennis throughout the tournament.
Very true. Now with that, as a team, how have you guys come together? How have you guys meshed throughout the long season?
We've meshed really well together. We all get along really well. We spent countless hours through practice and overnights and traveling to matches, so we really get along well and we've really bonded.
And with that, with time to get together and bond and really be a good cohesive unit as a team, you guys only had 1 loss on the season. Now with that, how were you able to regroup? How did your teammates encourage you? How did that all come together for you guys to grow stronger and be a better team from it?
Yeah, I mean, it was really tough having our last regular season be a loss, but out of that, it showed us that we're not invincible, that while at the time we were ranked number 1, that really doesn't mean anything and anyone can beat anyone. So it just taught us that we need to keep playing our best tennis.
And for your next opponent, you have a very formidable foe in Green Bay Notre Dame. How are you guys preparing for that first round matchup?
Well, we've played them twice this year, got them both times, but they've both been really tough matches. So we know it's going to be a really tough battle. And we know their doubles teams are really strong, so we're expecting everyone to win, and we just keep practicing as hard as we can until we get to see them, and we're counting on our singles to play tough.
Now, as student athletes that are growing in this game, trying to get better day in and day out, what are some of the good habits or what are some of the tips of tricks that you guys have picked up in the game of tennis from your coach?
I guess I can try and earn some brownie points with this answer, but our coach is great. He's really pushed us the whole season with conditioning and just different technical aspects of tennis, but we wouldn't be here without him.
And as you're looking for that, is tennis something you guys are pretty committed to do at Edgewood only, or are you going to look to continue that career going forward?
It's more for Edgewood only that I'll play at this level. After high school, I'll probably focus more on academics, but I will never stop playing tennis for sure.
Likewise, me too. I may try to play club tennis, but nothing as serious as this.
Understandable. Well, gentlemen, we want to wish you good luck coming up on the rest of the season. Great job so far. And as I said, good luck going forward. Charlie Kirsch and Billy O'Brien from the Edgewood tennis team. We'll be right back with more of the sports news in just a moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to Sports News. Right now I'm joined by Kevin Bice and Shane Ellis of the Janesville Lacrosse Club. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having us.
So tell us a bit about the sport of lacrosse. It has really kind of quickly moved to Wisconsin from the coast and is one of those growing sports. Tell us a bit about how that kind of progressed.
It got started in Wisconsin about 15 years ago. One of my close friends had a stick brought down by his cousin. So a bunch of us hockey players and friends just kind of picked up sticks and got our own from there and had so much fun playing that it caught on, and parents formed some teams, and before we knew it we had conferences in Madison, Milwaukee, and Green Bay.
Interesting. And lacrosse is one of those sports for our viewers. It's probably easiest to explain comparing some of the sports we're more familiar with into that. What draws these athletes from all walks of life to be a lacrosse athlete?
Well, I played football and basketball, and I used to play baseball, and I just couldn't stand standing around. So I joined lacrosse. My mom introduced it to me, and I couldn't be any more proud of playing it because it kind of just like correlates with me as an athlete.
Sure.
It's more intense. You don't have to stand around and wait for the ball to come to you like in baseball. It gives kids opportunities to express themselves in the spring because there's no other sports that you can be that physical in.
And you said it's a bit more of an intense sport. Can you explain a little bit how the sport is played or maybe something that it's similar to?
Absolutely, yeah. The sport is it's called the fastest sport on 2 feet for a reason. It's got similarities to hockey, soccer, and basketball. I'd say are probably the 3 most prominent, but played on a soccer field or approximately that size. Has a physicality of hockey. You can hit people, you can check them with your stick, and then it has a strategy of basketball too, so a lot of pick play, defensively very similar. And I think that's one reason why it's such a draw for multi-sport athletes that like to come out and play lacrosse, is because they see those similarities and they're able to leverage the stuff they do in other sports to be good lacrosse players too.
And how has this season gone for the team?
The season has gone good. We're a newer team in Wisconsin, so we're still progressing. We're also in the best conference in the state, so we have a lot of tough opponents. But we're starting to show like progression with our club, and we're competing now. So.
Yeah, we had 2 key victories this year. We had the program's first ever victory over Wanakee, as well as Westside, and last year the program had their first ever win over Middleton. So very strong conference, and if you can win games in conference, I think that reflects the fact that this program has been building for very positive things in the future.
And where could some of our viewers that might want to see a game or follow you guys more closely get some more information?
We have a home playoff game Tuesday, June 2nd at 6 o'clock. And then there's also other games around the area in the state tournament.
So playoffs are starting. The state championship is going to be June 13th at Beloit College at 6 p.m. for anybody interested in catching that. In addition to that, it's been more popular now with national TV audiences. It gets a lot of airplay on Memorial Day weekend. So people with Watch ESPN can go back on there and catch some games that have been played in the past, and a lot of pro games coming on now in the summers too that they'll be able to watch on ESPN and possibly some other channels. I'm not quite sure anymore.
Janesville Lacrosse Club. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
That is Kevin Bice and Shane Ellis. We'll be right back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to Sports News. Right now I'm very pleased to be joined by Splatter Alice, aka Gail Schwittrath, and Dolly Pardon Me, aka Amy Basil of the Mad Rollin' Dolls. Ladies, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Now I'm very excited because it's a very entertaining sport to watch, but tell us a little bit about the resurgence of modern roller derby.
Well, you might know that it started as an endurance race in the 30s and 40s, and they learned very quickly that what people loved about roller derby was the crashes, when people would run into each other and then, fall all over the track. And then they would also have some purposeful bumping into people to gain advantage. So it kind of turned into a WWF-esque free-for-all in the 80s, around the 80s, and then around 2000, 2003 is when the modern institution of roller derby started. It's kind of like ESPN, only a demolition derby version of it. We're skating around a track as fast as you can, essentially, and running into each other.
And with that, everyone kind of gets their start a little bit differently. You're kind of a family that slowly grows. How did you guys get your start? Share with us more of exactly kind of what you do and how you recruit new members.
Well, Dolly's an original skater with Mad Rollin' Dolls.
And when I started, I went to the exhibition bout. Cracker Jack and Pam Demonium are co-founders. Cracker Jack's sister had played in Austin, Texas, where roller derby resurgence started, and started it in Madison. We recruited people from that original exhibition bout, and in the next couple years recruited more skaters to round out our rosters. Back then it was a lot of it was more of a show rather than a game, and it was a lot of kind of fighting in between the actual skating around and
cages
knocking
for penalty
into each
boxes.
other. Yes. And it developed into the sport that it is now slowly as skaters wanted to really get more into the athleticism of the sport. So it's grown, and after several years now, skaters have to try out and sometimes don't make the team. We have a draft.
Yep. It's grown into an international sport.
Yes.
We have an all-star team that plays ranked underneath the Women's Flat Track Derby Association for placement in divisionals, and if you make it in the top 3 of divisionals, then you get invited to the international playoffs within the association.
And you mentioned sort of that travel team, the Dairyland Dolls. You guys have some upcoming events. Very quickly, can you give us some information about those?
Yeah, we have some summer bouts and activities. We're going to be playing against a men's team, the Blitzkrieg, on June 20th at the Hartmeyer Ice Arena. And then we also have an exhibition bout. We're partnering with the Mallards so that we can skate at Shake the Lake. We'll be putting down our track on John Nolan Drive. So you can watch us play each other before the fireworks on that night. And what else do we have going on?
We've also got an exhibition bout at the Dane County Fair coming up. That'll be in July. I believe the Thursday of the Dane County Fair. And this next weekend, the Mad Rollin' Dolls, Dairyland Doll teams will be going to the Brouhaha, which is in Milwaukee. So a little bit of a travel, but it'll be open to the public, and I believe it's at the
Panther Arena?
Yes,
I think
where
it's at
they
the Panther
play.
Arena. They'll be playing over 3 days, Friday through Sunday.
Wow, very cool stuff. Mad Rollin' Dolls, folks, check them out. Mad Rollin' Dolls and the Dairyland Dolls. Also want to note they're highly involved in the community, so you can see them out and about all over the place. Splatter, Alice, and Dolly, pardon me. Thank you so much for joining us here today, ladies.
Thanks for talking with us.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to Sports News today. We want to thank our friends over at the Red Zone. Also, if you're watching this, you can check me out every Sunday up at the Dodge County Speedway Association for some great local racing action. My name is Ryan Ashker, and you've been tuned in to Sports News on CW57.